sanguine that we're going to see an answer before the end of this year. So, what do we know about the effect of deregulation? We have had a number of significant 911 outages. And those outages have not been reported as well to the state commissions because a number of the VoIP providers don't have to report anymore. We don't have any direct examples of consumers who can't get service anymore. Although legislation in Kentucky, when they looked at deregulation, said, okay, what we really need to do is to give a customer an out. They have X number of days to come back to us and say, no, this new service won't work. And there is some oversight of the transition itself. In Ohio, for instance, there is a transition committee looking at where are the places where the IP transition may not be there to give everybody service. One of the big issues that surfaced recently, and it's going to be the subject of a hearing in California this week and got a lot of press a couple of months ago, is that as Verizon transitioned its lines to Frontier, there were significant failures in the wireline, in the ability of customers to get wireline service. So the problem, as I think we've seen in a number of places, as one provider picks up from another, was an operational support system problem, ending up with significant outages for customers and an extended time to repair. In Florida, because the commission has no oversight whatsoever, the Attorney General picked up the mandate. In Florida, where the complaint of a customer is routed to the Department of Agriculture, there is more of a turn it around and call the company back. So I think those are the biggest concerns that we see as we begin to look at a larger transition that is going to make major changes to the way that we implement telecom. The consumer protections that we always depended on from our state commissions were somebody to call with a complaint, an understanding of when there are outages and how they're going to get fixed, the ability to say, okay, I don't like this provider, I just want to pick up and go to another one, with the ability to go to your state commission and ask for help. And those are the things that we may not see as much as we move to a more IP-enabled environment. I did hear in the last presentation that nobody has tried to re-regulate. Not exactly true. Both Maine and Texas in 2015 tried to bring the regulation of VoIP into the standard regulatory format. So they both had bills that said, we're going to add VoIP to the telecommunication services we oversee. Both of those bills failed, but they were based on the fact that customers were concerned about those protections. Now, the argument on the other side is that I can call the FCC, and they will jump in and immediately take care of everything. probably shortly after they finish the contribution decision. So there are some concerns. In Maine, where they started to have open meetings in the parts of the state where carrier of last resort service will be withdrawn, consumers are very concerned that they will be forced to wireless. And they're concerned about things like battery backup. So I think where we are is a learning curve. I think we have lots more options than we ever did. I mean, clearly I'm sitting here talking to you all on Skype. I hope I look as good on the big screen as I do on my little screen. And if I don't, please don't tell me. So that's where we are. Let me turn it over to you all and answer whatever questions you might have.
So Sherry, I want to ask a question about the 911 outages and not reporting, because I think that's somewhat related to...
I'm having a hard time hearing you. Can you get closer to the microphone?
Yeah. Which mic are we using here, folks? You know?
Computer.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go up to the computer. So I'm going to get very close to you. Is that better?
That's really nice.
Oh, good. All right. So the question about the 911 outages and not reporting when the VoIP carrier is not reporting. So you were hearing us discuss the drafted Minnesota legislation a little bit here, and this question about paying into 911, and maybe someone in the room even knows the answer to this, but would that legislation also then require reporting of outages in the same legislation?
The states that are looking at 911 outages, Colorado, California, Nebraska has just designated the Public Service Commission as the central coordinator of all 911, would really takes the reporting of outages and the repair of outages and separates that from the paying into the fund. There are bills in other states that have looked at paying into the fund. In terms of outage reporting, the real concern is that while the carriers are reporting to the FCC's outage reporting, the NORS reports, do include VoIP providers. That information isn't provided to the states, and you all can understand that you want to have that information both to track what's going on and to be able to respond to consumers. So it's really two different problems. Does that help?
Well, it helps. I get that it's two different problems. That's not the issue. I get that it's two different problems. I was just wondering if the drafted Minnesota legislation includes reporting of outages in the state. No. Okay, I'm getting an answer in the room, no. So then,
good, because I was going to say I probably have some notes on that legislation, but so, you all are better prepared to answer that.
So then let me ask the next question that I have. You may have heard this discussion in the room. We were having this discussion about paying in the 911 fund here, and the Department of Commerce here maintains that under current law, all VoIP carriers should be paying in, but clearly the evidence is they are not. And you've indicated that it's pretty clear that many do not pay in. So in your read of the FCC ruling on this and the practice of VoIP carriers across the country, is it the practice that many don't pay into 911 funds around the country and states?
So the interconnected carriers, the carriers that are not, that you can't pick up the phone and go to another house and plug it in, not the over-the-top carriers. The interconnected carriers, for the most part, do pay in. And it is, the FCC required that in one of their orders that, you know, if you're an interconnected VoIP carrier, you're responsible for paying in to 911 and providing 911 service. The question comes with all of these over-the-top carriers. So we're using Skype. And while Skype belongs to Microsoft now, it's still, I don't believe is paying into anybody's fund for 911. And if I use Vonage, because Vonage considers themselves interconnected, they will pay in. They now have access to numbers. But it's dicey, and I don't know, because the 911 systems are managed so differently, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you on how many are really paying in. I think it is a very interesting question that we should probably investigate. So I'm going to put it on my list.
Tony?
Can I chime in on that?
Yeah, you should probably go out there so Sherry can hear you. It's clear that there's
The bill in Minnesota did require VoIP providers to file 911 plans and comply with Chapter 403, which is our 911 statute. So I have to go back and review 403 in terms of what that requires in terms of any outage requirements, reporting back to the state. But the bill would have required all VoIP providers to file the 911 plan, which essentially is an annual plan that says, here's how our 911 system works. It shows the design of the system, shows all the exchanges, all the PSAPs are assigned there, so that the state actually does know and have information about how each VoIP provider's 911 communications are going to be, or are going to work. So that was part of the Minnesota bill.
Other folks have questions. You can go up there.
Oh, you guys are so nice.
Hi, Sherry. Hi, Sherry. Thank you so much.
How are you?
It's very interesting. Two quick questions. Number one, you mentioned that there were several bills regulating or attempting to address municipal broadband that were not passed. Just a few more words about those, if they were enhancing the ability of municipalities to deliver broadband services or opposing it. That's question one. And number two, would you explain the map? What do the colors mean on that map?
Whoopsie. Hope they'll come back. Well, we would rate the quality low right at the moment. Very low. So your first question again?
She mentioned that there are a number of municipal broadband bills that were not passed.
Okay, clearly you didn't want me to answer that question.
No, we just were gonna, we did get this thing though that said rate the call, and we were gonna rate it really low.
I saw that part too. I just make sure it's rate the technology, don't rate me.
Of course not.
All right, so you had a question.
Yes, so the first question is, more detail please on the couple of, you mentioned there were several bills across the nation that addressed municipal broadband that they did not pass. Please say a little bit more, were those bills' intention to enhance and expand or restrict municipal broadband? And the second question is, please explain the colors on your map.
Okay, so let me start with the muni broadband bills. The muni broadband bills were to remove restrictions on municipal broadband and to attempt to allow municipalities to expand or add muni broadband service. So in Alabama, a bill failed to remove the restrictions on municipal broadband. In Tennessee, where you know there's been litigation and the FCC tried to lift the restrictions on muni broadband, there was a bill in the legislature that said, if I'm already offering broadband, as the Chattanooga folks are, then let me expand that broadband to nearby communities. That failed as well. There is a bill, however, in Utah that passed, and it says that municipalities can vote on whether they want to have municipal broadband. And so the idea in most of these bills was to begin to lift some of the restrictions. There are two sides to this problem.